A Rhode Island residential purchase agreement is a document that outlines the arrangement between a buyer and the seller of a house for transferring ownership of property. Important terms and conditions detailed in the contract include the purchase price, financing terms, expiration date, and the rights and responsibilities of both parties. In this video, we'll cover how a residential purchase agreement works, the legal requirements in Rhode Island, and what you'll need to create one. We're eForms, the biggest online database for legal documents. Stick around and we'll tell you where you can find an official residential purchase agreement specific to Rhode Island. First, let's review how exactly a residential purchase agreement works. The residential purchase agreement initially acts as an offer from a prospective buyer to the seller of a house. It states how much the buyer is willing to pay for it, how the purchase will be financed, what contingencies must be met before closing the deal, and more. It may take some negotiation between the buyer and the seller to agree on all parts of the contract. Once an agreement is met, both parties sign the document, making it legally bound. This means that the agreement can only be terminated if both parties agree to it, or if a contractual contingency or a legal requirement is not met. So, what are the legal requirements in Rhode Island? Prior to signing the agreement, the seller must provide a detailed disclosure statement about the property's condition and any known material defects. That includes damages of the home's electrical, structural, or utility systems, as well as information about zoning, property tax, and more. In addition, under federal law, the seller is required to provide a disclosure about lead-based paint exposure if the residence was built before 1978. Now that we know more about how a residential purchase agreement works and what's legally required, here are some things that you should do to make sure the process goes smoothly. Include a mortgage pre-approval letter. A mortgage pre-approval letter is a document from a bank estimating how much it's willing to lend to the buyer based on the buyer's credit history, income, debts, and assets. This helps the seller determine whether the buyer is financially credible. Offer an earnest money deposit. An earnest money deposit is a percentage of the offer that is provided to the seller ahead of time as a show of good faith. It's written into the residential purchase agreement and typically delivered when the agreement is signed. Use an addendum to modify or add to the agreement. An addendum is often included with a residential purchase agreement to add to or amend any terms and conditions, rather than rewriting the whole agreement. It can also detail a contingency which allows either party to opt out of the contract if certain terms are not met. If you are in need of an official Rhode Island residential purchase agreement, you can get started by clicking the link right here. Also, hit that subscribe button for more videos to help simplify the legal process for everything ranging from buying or selling a house to making a will.